This week on Across the Arrowverse, Flash was a return to form, Legends were still a bit rubbish, Arrow was definitely an episode that happened, and Supergirl was triggered. Hi everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Matthew Vose, and I'm joined by Catherine Kay.
Good morning, everyone.
This week, we are discussing the episodes Supergirl, Trigger, The Flash, Mixed Signals, DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Freak Show, and Arrow, Tribute. I think I would like to start off with Flash. Like I said at the beginning, this was a return to form. This was an episode that delivered everything we would want from a Flash episode. We once spoke about how it's the fun one that we actually enjoy.
Yeah, totally agree. I thought Flash was excellent this week. It was fun. It was interesting. There was some good character development. There was some outstanding, entertaining set pieces. Yeah, loved it.
Yeah. Opening up with the Risky Business tribute and going through exactly what I want to see with the Flash, with him doing stuff in super speed, having to figure out how to deal with stuff quickly, but in a very mundane setting.
I must say, though, when he came in and did that Risky Business tribute, I was waiting for him to sing. I loved that musical episode so much. I just want another one.
I suspect we will get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, so much good fun. The car disassembly scheme where he had to take the car to bits as the guy was driving it. I know it was a bit silly. I have a lot of tolerance for a bit silly.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's exactly, okay, you've got someone who can do stuff at super speed, so do that. If you've got it as a power set. There were a number of times where, we're going to talk about this in Supergirl, in fact, but they could do stuff and using part of the power set and they don't, and it's always it's a bit of dissonance about how they could be dealing with things, but that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I loved the dealing with trauma and them going to therapy, him agreeing, but leaning a bit into the trope of he doesn't want to be there, but actually there is an underlying thing, and they are still trying to keep things secret whilst working through the problems and discussing them.
And I liked that theme that seemed to come through the episode in a number of character combinations, that communicating and acting together as a team produces positive outcomes, and no matter how well intentioned, shooting off on your own and doing things just how you think they should be done and making assumptions about other things that are going on tends to lead to unfortunate consequences.
Yeah.
And I really feel of the 4 episodes this week, sort of Flash is the positive mental health episode, with Arrow definitely being, this is why we have mental health issues across the Western world episode. But we'll come on to that later.
Yeah, everyone had to go through something of working with each other, figuring things out. The Cisco and Gypsy.
Yes.
Plotline had a lot of that. Slightly weird. It feels like there was a scene missing with Gypsy about what she was up to. Is she just sitting around? Is she out getting a coffee?
Yeah, because I quite like the shades of grey about her. I mean, yes, purportedly she was here for the 111 day to be schmoopy with Cisco. Just putting this out there, Matthew, that perhaps we should also celebrate 111 day.
We should be schmoopy.
We should be schmoopy. 1st of November, it's coming up. It's like Wednesday, right? I want to be schmoopy on Wednesday. Moving swiftly onwards.
The one who didn't have much to do in the episode was Wally. To the extent they almost forgot he was in a scene at one point, and they had a conversation, and I had to ask, like, is he just sat to the side and we can't see him anymore? Yeah,
there's either going to be something brewing, I think, for a big Wally-centred plot incident or episode or something later on, or he is starting to become surplus to requirements, so he might disappear off to Earth 2 to hang out with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, there didn't seem to be an awful lot of points of Wally apart from that dreadful new haircut this week.
I wondered if, in the same way Iris had an issue with Barry going, he has an issue with Barry coming back because he was the one stepping up and doing stuff, and he is now supplanted. So, is that what's brewing?
I think you're probably quite right, because he really did love being the man. And especially the fact that now Barry's back, he's actually faster than Wally, because that was a thing before, that Wally was slightly faster than Barry, and that gave him his sort of unique place within the team, and that's now gone. I must say, I do get the sort of the deep, dark problem brewing in the background of the therapy session being, why did you leave me? But I was also a little bit disappointed, because I thought that actually, even if that hadn't been there, I thought it was interesting, the sort of the more mundane issues that they were trying to work through, the fact that he was trying to do everything for her without letting her have any input and stuff, and I think they've probably got a bit to talk about there as well. But I thought it was a little bit too easily resolved, her wailing, why did you leave me, and hey, now everything's open and they've communicated and we can all move on. I don't think it really works like that, but anyway,
he trusted her in the end, so that was okay. That was the we've not mentioned the villain, Kilgore. It was genuinely quite obvious that he's got a new tech suit and they suddenly have a tech villain.
Chekhov's hackable suit.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm almost disappointed they got rid of some of the tech in the suit. It was verging on Iron Man.
Yes.
So I can understand doing that, but it would have been quite fun to introduce some new things like that, so...
Yes.
A little shame.
Indeed.
I also want to call out Cisco, who had a great moment with the magazines where he talked about it's only hoarding if it doesn't pay off.
Yes, that was fun. That was fun. I also thought what was interesting for me this week was the number of pop culture references. They talked about Game of Thrones, and they talked about something else, which I can't remember.
Silicon Valley?
They talked about, that was it, Silicon Valley and Game of Thrones. And I find that interesting, because I guess it does place the show in the time in which it's set. It's not necessarily looking for the show to have a long life, but fun. And actually, I mean, certainly you and I, those are both shows that we've watched. Absolutely. So perhaps that's the shows that they think most of their audience, or a significant proportion of their audience, will also have watched. Yeah.
Barry catching up on shows that he's watched at 1,000 times speed.
That was fun.
Excellent. I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Cisco had a bad moment, though, where he peated Caitlin. She came up with an idea, he just cut her off because he wasn't listening and came up with the same idea. Maybe that's going to be an ongoing thing that gets dealt with, but it's less funny than I think that joke once was.
But it does fit in with the theme of the episode of people not necessarily listening to each other as well as they could do.
Yes, and maybe that's the one time they do it, and we'll let them off for that.
Yeah.
But, okay. So we also watched Supergirl, Trigger.
Yeah, I liked it.
Lots about our new, possibly significant character, Sam. I think I wrote down Sam Arias. We'll find out maybe if we see her name written down somewhere.
Mum Sam,
who had the strength of 10 mums.
but only in that specific moment. I thought it was interesting that she couldn't replicate it herself, because at one point I was thinking, this is a little bit weird. Why are you lying to your daughter?
Yeah.
Because, as we know, lying to people and hiding things equals bad results, but actually she seems to be quite a good mum, so it didn't feel like something that she would lie about. So perhaps she wasn't. So that's quite intriguing, this coming and going of her powers. Yeah.
I liked seeing her trying to be an actual good mum.
Yes.
And talking to her daughter openly. Now, her daughter was sullen and had things going on, so there is obviously a further thing there. But that came along across a lot more genuinely than some of the stuff in Arrow did, which was a bit forced and a bit contrived.
There is definitely a background story to come out about those two. They don't just appear out of nowhere, and they're not being... Especially that whole comment about, no, there is not a father.
There's no father.
Yeah, I think the father is probably in prison, or
the girl's adopted,
or I don't know,
or surrogates, or
no. My bet is that there is a father,
right,
and there has been a father until relatively recently, but he has done something of heinous proportions that they're trying to escape from or cover up, or something along those lines, and he's going to come in as a bad guy later on.
Okay,
that's my guess.
So it's not that the girl is Anakin Skywalker. There's something else there. It's not just immaculately conceived by the Force.
No. I actually think probably Ruby is just a slightly sullen teenager. I think there is,
Okay, she's not going to be a... Who have we got? We've had Maxwell Lord in that first season. We've had Luther's. Perhaps even she... What am I trying to compare this to? Oliver Queen's mum got rid of Oliver's illegitimate child? Is this the Earth whatever version of Oliver Queen's child? We're about to meet the Supergirl's Earth version of Oliver. I'd quite enjoy that.
I'm not feeling it.
Okay.
But I'm willing to be convinced. Let's see.
Because that's a story we've seen elsewhere, so maybe. I said in Flash about using the power set and using the power set properly. Supergirl does not do that. This girl has to look at her and engage her with her psychic to make her be triggered and fearful. Okay, Supergirl is as fast as the Flash, as we were canonically shown at one point. Why doesn't she just race in with super speed and put a blindfold on her and put handcuffs on her?
But Matthew, it's because she's constrained into a Japanese role-playing game fighting style.
Yeah.
You've got to wait for your turn to strike a blow.
Yeah, put a timer over her head building up and...
Yeah, totally, that was yeah. Now I'm just going to hang around and wait for you to hit me with your psycho...
Yeah. Go in, hit her over the head with a crowbar, and, carry on.
I mean, the new villain was quite cool.
Yes.
I thought she was a good villain, and I thought she was a good actress.
Yeah.
You know, she seemed to be a proper character with an she was a villain that we possibly won't see more of, but one that I would be interested in seeing more of and understanding more about, whereas some of the villains we see, I'm just like, yeah, they're just here to do a thing, and they're not actually, don't really have any character of their own beyond the power that we're exhibiting this week.
Yeah.
I thought that last was interesting.
Yeah. Did she do anything heinous enough that she couldn't come back and be a member of the team or a Catwoman gypsy-like character?
Well, I was getting strong senses of trauma in the past that have made her evil and selfish, and that to me sometimes leads to, okay, are we setting this person up for redemption?
Yeah.
But equally, if her skill set is to make people see things that they're afraid of, I'm not sure whether that gives her a place within a good guy group, unless that she could somehow amend that skill set.
I can see her using that on villains and it being interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be quite a nice way to go.
Can I just say, talking about psycho rubbish, what was going on with John James this week? His psychic shield! His the residual psychic activity that he can scan. He can't scan whatever Supergirl is, but he can scan the residual psychic activity.
Yeah.
And what was the weird growling that he was making, like when he's doing his psychic stuff? I'm like, come on, what is that all about?
Yeah, men in the superhero shows, that's what they do. They growl at the screen. Yeah. In fact, he did the Professor X hand to the temple thing, didn't he?
He really did.
My mind to your mind.
Oh, dear.
I also liked with the fear concept that we got to something of actual depth with what Supergirl was feeling like she'd killed Mon-El and sent him away and the decisions she had to make.
Yes.
Not in a mopey, moody way that we had last time, but in a genuinely sad way. It felt like the show was looking at the way depression hits you.
And grief.
Her talking about, if I have to be Kara's broken and had to make a hard decision and doesn't know how to deal with it, Supergirl can help people. And I really like that the either throwing yourself into work to ignore your personal problems or ignoring work and, doing fun stuff or going out partying or something. It's that sort of analogy.
Yeah.
I like that, and they could lean harder into it, but if I'm able to read it, I enjoy it. But,
yes. No, I agree. And I liked the way Lena dealt with her as Kara in the workplace.
Yes.
I thought that was appropriate, and I thought this was, in some ways, this was the week of capable women.
Yes.
Across the DC universe.
Yeah. I have a note here of Capability Luthor.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely. She tried reaching out as a friend. That didn't work, so she laid down the law. And it got through. It showed, okay, you can't just behave this way. There are consequences.
Yeah, no, it was good. I do hope that by the end of the series, Lena is allowed in on the secret of who Supergirl is.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, it's now really, really stretching the bounds of plausibility that she hasn't clocked on, especially if she knew that Kara and Mon-El were a couple.
Yes.
But
I would be interested in an episode where there is a decision about telling a Luthor.
Yep.
I feel that's the reason they wouldn't tell her, because of what her family is, and rightly so, in the wider context of Superman and Lex and her mother and so on. But I would appreciate an episode where they really go into that and maybe even test her or something.
Yep.
Yeah. Treat it properly, whereas when they're told people in the past, it's usually they find out by accident or they have to be told for reasons.
Yes.
So let's actually make an informed decision about what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I thought the Lena and Jimmy Olsen power struggle's interesting.
Particularly with Sam being part of that plot.
Yes.
As well as just an incidental character.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. I thought it was good that James... Do we call him James? We don't call him James. Yeah, stood up to Lena quite early on.
Yes.
I thought good for him.
If he's supposed to be a CEO, he should be able to do this.
He should have And I'm like, it's interesting. So I have a big issue about TV. Well, not a big issue, but I dislike it when TV shows force drama through either secrets or lack of communication.
Yeah.
So when James did that, I was like, oh, good for him, and I've put a big star. Avoided forced drama. Yeah. But then 2 seconds later, Supergirl's whisking Win off to secretly confide in him her fears, and I'm just like, why is she not telling other people this? Why just Win? Because, come on, this is hardly embarrassing. So I've put another big star going, forced conflict.
Oh, that's interesting, because I liked her doing that. It felt like this is a very personal thing to her. She does not want to admit weakness at the moment. So she is trusting someone with that secret. She's not bottling it up. She's sharing it with one person that she thinks can help.
Maybe.
So.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see where they go with that.
I guess I'm just an open book.
Clearly. One other thing that I wanted to call out was the daughter putting herself in danger to get her mum to come and rescue her. And I like that in the end they didn't resolve that in the moment.
Yep.
It's basically Lois Lane at the beginning of Superman 2. She thinks that Clark Kent is Superman when they are at Niagara Falls, so she throws herself into the river leading to the falls. And Clark Kent grabs a branch and rescues her.
Yes. Nice.
So I sort of appreciate that kind of feeling of, yeah, this is what people do in this situation.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, very interesting at the end that we didn't see her bend the crowbar, but there's an implication that she's starting to think there's something more about her.
Yes, I like that. Can I just make one pedant point about this episode? My office has security cameras in our lift. I think most offices I've ever worked in have security cameras in their lifts. I'm pretty sure it's the same in the States. Does Kara think they don't have security cameras in the Catco lift?
Yeah. And then to burst out of the roof, so damaging the building, when she was the last person in the lift, and leaving her purse and her ID and her glasses in the lift.
Yeah, no one's mentioned the hole in the roof after that.
Yeah, it's a bit...
It's like,
Yeah. This is why he always used a revolving door or a phone box.
Yes.
And Spider-Man leaves backpacks around the city.
Yeah. But for all of that, and my pedantry aside, I did enjoy the episode. And I like the themes of it. I am very relieved that Alex and Kara are getting close again, because I found that a bit upsetting.
Yes.
But yes.
There was more discussion to come with Alex's fiancée.
Yes. Yes.
That thing there. Because yes, they really should have had the conversation. Yeah. And there was also the point them deciding about a band or a DJ for the wedding. And we have had that exact debate this week. Having a band is so much better because you get the energy of a live band playing your music you like.
Yeah, I don't even see that this is a debate. It's an obvious choice.
Arrow was called Tribute. I don't know why.
Should have been called Misery Are Us.
Yeah, I liked opening on a Bruce Wayne reference. And it's making me wonder, are we going to see Mr. Wayne in this world at some point? Because there's been a reference to Superman and Batman working together in Supergirl, but we've never had anything like that in Arrow, so that's quite interesting. And the rest of it happened. I have very few notes.
I like Agent Watson.
Yes. And FBI, not a fake institution.
No, exactly. And I think she builds into this week's theme of capable women. I like Agent Watson a lot. The rest of it, I'm afraid I've got quite slightly negative points, but I think I disclosed last week, Arrow has not been my favourite, and I've not actually finished the last few series, because it's just too It's two shades of darkness and misery.
Yeah.
But I just think, Diggle saying things like, I'm a soldier. Well, that's the foundation of Western world male mental health issues, for a start.
Yeah.
And
can't show weakness, can't show sadness, bury it all inside, turn it off like a light switch.
Yeah. And the dubious parenting from the Arrow.
Yeah.
And the dubious parenting advice from Renee. Lie to your children. And then the selfishness of the Arrow at the end. Oh, I can't be the Arrow because I don't want to leave my son an orphan. But here you go, Diggle, you be the Arrow. Doesn't matter if you die because your kid's still got a mum.
Yeah, he's got two parents who's basically got a spare one. Is that the logic here?
Just like, Jesus. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not, yeah. And the other thing that didn't ring true for me, or if it was theoretically true, it shows Oliver McQueen to be a selfish was two of Team Arrow moaning about how they had no money and had to do jobs on the side, and then they're going into a business together. I don't mind them going into business together, but the idea that Oliver McQueen lives this lovely, wealthy lifestyle and Felicity and Curtis are on the breadline, that doesn't ring true to me.
No. She could sell some of her hills and make a good amount of money, surely.
Exactly.
I'm interested to see what comes of that story of them setting up together, because it feels like that's going to be a thing. Now, we've had stories of people being distracted, running a company, dealing with outside world issues, and it's not the most interesting. It's not quite false conflict, but it is, okay, find a way to resolve it one way or the other. Don't do this as your main plot. But I feel like the pairing of the two smart techie types hopefully is going to lead to something interesting, whether an upgrade to systems, a change in the way they do things, more operating across the Arrowverse.
I would like it to signal a spin-off series with Felicity and Curtis in it, because I like them, and I think they could have a nice spin-off series with the lightness and the fun of Flash and Supergirl, which is what I go to.
Yeah.
And then we can just finish Arrow and all the doom and gloom and misery, because I'm just not interested.
Yeah. Have Felicity as Oracle, giving advice and guidance and research to everyone across this whole world, across this universe. Yeah. We shall see. It'll be interesting to track and find out what happens there. There were lots of reminders about his son very early on, so they were clearly planning to use that all the way through as the thing. We've already, I said last week I didn't want to see, I've got to get home to get my son to school and read him a book. Good night. And we're already starting to do that, so I'm worried there, but also he was saying to his son, punch the biggest one in the nose and take whatever comes next. Like,
dubious parenting advice from the Arrow.
Dubious parenting, but that's what he knows. So we'll see. I'm still hoping the kid comes in as something useful on the team. If only so he can get a chair so he doesn't have to sit on the edge of his bed playing video games, because that doesn't look comfortable and no way you'd want to do that.
Just one call out, the, I don't know what she's called now.
Black Canary?
Black Canary.
Yeah.
Also goes into the books of Capable Women of the Week. So yes, I thought she came across very well. Bit boring. She is a bit boring. I find it a very stupid superpower. I possibly said that last week as well. But yeah, as a voice of a force of sensibleness, she is totally up there in this week. Yeah.
And it's not even just John. She does call everyone out on everything.
Yeah.
She's very level-headed. And they've not given her too many stories, so I don't know quite where they're going to go with her or just keep her as a reserved character. But interesting. Do we have much to say about Legends of Tomorrow?
One question.
Go on.
Why are they all so stupid?
Yeah. It's a slightly disappointing show from the writing. It's disappointing from the way they do, hey, I've got very flexible acrobats. Oh, well, we'll definitely come over there then. Come on. It's 2017. You can do better things than that of, hey, why don't you come back for a drink? And Ray goes, this is our chance to hang out with P.T. Barnum. Let's do it. That's all it needs. It doesn't need, flexible acrobats. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Billy Zane was quite good.
He was quite good.
Combined
I enjoyed
with
that.
some Titanic references was quite a nice touch.
Yeah.
Calling the metal dude the Man of Steel was quite a nice touch.
But I don't like him as a character. He can go.
Yeah.
I don't like Amaya. She's better this season than she was last season when she was all, oh, I can't be in love with you because I've got to go back to 1942.
Yeah.
But I don't get them as a couple anyway.
No. I feel like the episode was improved from last week, but was still not a good episode and didn't do anything for me.
I would like to see them progress further into the interaction and the joint working with the time prefects.
Yes.
I like the interplay with Chief Time Prefect, Agent
Sharp. Yes.
That was it, and Sarah. I think I like, and again, harking on the theme, the week of capable women, and everyone else is just a bit stupid.
Yes, very much so.
I would like to keep the kitten-sized saber-toothed tiger.
Absolutely. I am disappointed that this show did not end on a shot of that in the window of the spaceship.
Yes.
Just some little reference to it, because that was excellent.
Yes. But yeah, I have nothing else to say about that episode.
No.
It was a bit of a non-entity.
Ended on a bit of magic, which is always nice in the DC universe, bringing Amaya's sister back to be a servant of Malice, coming out of the water and...
Oh, yeah, vaguely.
Not Amaya's sister. Vixen's sister, or Vixen's mother, or someone in that lineage brought back out of the water through magic. Magic's quite fun in the DC universe, because it obeys no rules and does ridiculous things, so...
Yes.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, those are our shows. There's not too much more to show there, to talk about there. Which show do you think did best this week?
Come on. It's gotta be Flash.
It's gotta be Flash, hasn't it? It was fun. It felt like Barry after Duet, after the musical episode. It felt like they know that is the Barry we want to see.
Yeah.
So they made him fun, they made him positive in the team, they made Cisco fun.
Yeah, I love Confident Cisco.
Yeah, him turning up late and saying the curls were not working with me this morning. Yeah, I'm into it. Caitlin having a bit of a side thing, but they're also writing her back as Caitlin as she always was, so maybe something will come there. Iris talking and making him go to therapy.
Yeah,
again,
I like
being
that.
capable. So yeah, very much that was the best thing. Which character do you think had the best week?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not entirely sure.
The saber-toothed tiger, maybe.
Maybe the saber-toothed tiger. Maybe the saber-toothed tiger. Maybe Lena Luthor.
Yeah. Do you think she should have done more with James?
Yes. If she was as good at man management as she purports to be, and as she seems to be, like picking her staff to actually leave Elcor in capable hands and trusting them to do that, I would have expected in the real world someone coming in to do that, either sacking James, getting him out of the way so he's not a distraction,
he can just be guardian,
or a duplicate leader, or doesn't confuse the issue, or talking to him more. So you're right.
Setting up some sort of transition plan.
Yes,
he's got 3 months to hand over, and then he's moving on.
But perhaps we shouldn't hold our superhero characters up to modern management principles.
Lena Luthor is not a superhero.
This is true.
She is a corporate manager.
This is true. This is
supposed to be her strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, she was good. No sign of the overarching plot in Supergirl this week of Adrian Pasdar or...
Oh yeah, he wasn't about, was he?
Anything else going on? A bit with Samantha, so maybe she's going to become the big threat.
Yeah.
Because there's the other shuttle from Krypton, which was possibly a shady shuttle and might be hers, but we're not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I feel like she would know more about her power and strength if she was actually from a different world.
It depends on what her power comes from, because Superman, Kal-El, Clark Kent, does not know about his powers until they start manifesting as he grows up, and his parents then tell him where he comes from, because he was a baby. The fact that Samantha is older than Supergirl means she's been on the planet a while longer, or was older when she was blasted off. It will be interesting to see, is there a subset of Kryptons in the same way there's Romulans and Remans in Star Trek?
One thing I do like, I like the fact that this is not necessarily yet a predictable outcome of that plot line.
Right. Yes.
So, I am intrigued as opposed to going, yeah, I can see what's going to happen there.
Yeah. It's good. So, that wraps us up for this week.
Yep.
If you have thoughts, questions, or comments, you can use the hashtag ATAV on Twitter, or find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as Eloquent Gushing. If you want to help support the show, please check out our Patreon page, where you can get access to exclusive content across all our shows. Go to patreon.com/eloquentgushing, and visit our homepage, eloquentgushing.com, to sign up for the weekly newsletter about the goings-on across all our shows. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you across the Arrowverse.
Across the Arrowverse is an Eloquent Gushing production. For more shows you'll love, please visit eloquentgushing.com.